Now, 00 Stephen, we have a mission for you. There's a billionaire industrialist. Got to start in oil and gas. But he's fixing horse races and might have something to do with flooding Silicon Valley. We're not entirely sure, but we need you on this case.
Well, T, it's not the first time I've seen a man about a horse. Welcome once again to another episode of 24 FPS Presents The Good, the Bad, the Bomb. This week, we're tackling another bad Bond, or it might be what the critics think, but is it what you think? Is it what we think? We'll find out now because we are talking about Roger Moore's film, A View to a Kill. I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful, the amazing Travis. Travis, how are you?
I'm good. I'm confused, and I feel really old now after watching this movie. But
a little broken.
Yeah, a little bit. But I have thoughts. I have things to say.
Well, we are going to get to those thoughts. I am very excited about it. This is, of course, the worst of the Roger Moore films. Yes. Is what we're taking off today with A View to a Kill. I'm excited about it. I've never seen this movie before. This was my first viewing. And strangely enough, though, growing up in the age of Pierce Brosnan, Roger Moore is probably my most memorable Bond outside of Pierce Brosnan because I started watching TBS's 21 Days of Bond.
Right.
And Roger Moore takes up a massive chunk of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's fully like 33% of the Bond films that they're going to play at any given time. So, yeah, this was, we'll get into it, but yeah, this was Roger Moore. For me, it's funny because Roger Moore is not my least known Bond, but I don't think of him before I think of Brosnan and Connery and Craig. And that's not even a knock on him because I do think there's a lot that Roger Moore did that was really good.
Sure,
not necessarily in this movie.
We're not talking about the good Roger Moore today.
No.
We're talking about Roger Moore's final run. That's so. Not all bad James Bond movies are the last of an actor's run.
Correct.
Maybe they are. We'll find out. But this was definitely his last film. This one came out in 1985. Good year for me, anyway. 1985, directed by John Glenn, written by Richard Maibaum, Michael G. Wilson, and Ian Fleming. That might just be a writer credit for the character itself.
I think so, because from what I remember reading about it, this basically, it was a short story called From A View to a Kill that Fleming had written, and that's kind of all they used.
Okay. I mean, okay, let's talk about the synopsis first. This is what the movie's about, according to IMDb. The recovery of a microchip from the body of a fellow British secret agent leads James Bond to mad industrialist Max Zorin, who is scheming to cause massive destruction. Max Zorin played in this film by Christopher Walken. The blondest Christopher Walken. The man just doesn't look right with light hair.
No, it does look a little jarring. We're going to definitely talk more about him soon.
Yeah. But he was our villain for this one. But I would also love to kick us off after reading the synopsis with a few reviews. Because this, unfortunately for it, is a whopping 36% critics and 40% audience. Critics and audiences are not fond of this film.
And, I mean, it did well. Like, it made money. It wasn't as big as the previous movies, but it still, I think, for its time was well over $100 million worldwide in 1985. But no, critics did not like it. I think Siskel and Ebert had it on their worst films of 1985 list. It's one of only 2 James Bond movies to actually get nominated for a Razzie.
Oh, wow.
But it just, it didn't do well that way, for reasons we will get into.
Right. Well, according to these critics, there's a few. I grabbed a couple good ones, a couple good reviews, a couple rotten ones. This one said, it is a film that's perfectly watchable, but at the same time is completely forgettable and unremarkable. And I can't disagree with that. We had another one that said, where other Bond films at least have a kitsch quality, A View to a Kill is not only silly, but it also commits the ultimate cardinal sin for any Bond movie. It's boring. Powerful words.
I also cannot disagree with that.
This one I liked. I like this a lot. It's not 007 anymore, but 0070. The best argument yet for the mandatory retirement age. And I got a lot of thoughts about that one. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
A View to a Kill is nowhere near as reviled as its reputation suggests. It might not be the proper send-off Roger Moore deserved, but the film has a great sense of fun, and its villains are in a league of their own. So that was another kind of positive bend on it. I'm a firm believer that you get what you want out of movies. You kind of walk in with your attitude, and if you want it to be good, you can pick apart things that are fun about it. But at some point, there's also just objectivity. Like, some things are just objectively not good. You can find fun in those things. I find a lot of fun in Biodome, for instance, and that's one of the worst movies ever, according to IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. But I find joy in some of the silly things in that movie. But I can't sit here and argue with you that it's a great film. I won't.
Right. Yes.
I just say I enjoy it.
And there is a very important distinction to be made between a great film and something that I enjoy, right? Schindler's List is a great film. I also happen to enjoy it,
right?
But for very different reasons, and it's not something I want to watch a lot.
No.
Biodome, on the other hand, is a terrible film, but there is something enjoyable about that, about that movie.
But if it's on Starz in the afternoon when I'm flipping channels, you better believe I'm going to stop there.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
Just watch it play out and have a little fun.
To this day, I still will use, I'm going to get that Mother Faulkner all the time because of Biodome. So
yeah, see, it has things to remember. But yeah, first of all, we had a song at the intro. We talk about these all the time. I dig. So before that even happens, the traditional Bond down the barrel camera shot.
Yeah,
this one was weird to me because the silhouette of Bond is meant to be this imposing kind of I got somebody in my sights kind of look, but when your pants are just barrels down your legs and the heels on those shoes were inches, it lost some of its imposing, intimidating flair to me. Did that happen to you?
Not as much as it did for you, but I get what you're pointing out, and you're not wrong. I mean, honestly, with the exception of the Sean Connery barrel sequences where he's wearing his hat, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the way he looks in that, except for one movie. When we get to that, we'll talk about it. But, so that's a tease for a future episode. But largely, it's just there. It is like I kind of autopilot through it a little bit. So, I do get what you're saying, and you're not wrong.
Yeah, it's one of those things I'm paying attention to probably more for our show since we're comparing multiple Bonds. Like George Lazenby dropping to one knee, Roger Moore's very wide pants. These are just things that are going to stand out to me, and it's a lot of this is just consequential for the time that they're presented in. But also, James Bond should be, to some degree, timeless. He shouldn't really follow trends, to me. Not in the
certainly
way that
not. Certainly not in the way he dresses.
Right.
James Bond should always, his suit should always look perfectly tailored.
Yes,
and
should always fit.
Or his tux or whatever it is should always fit just right. And it's the way James Bond carries himself, which is why in this movie, when he's walking around in what is effectively a tracksuit at one point, it's very jarring and threw me off.
But before we hound Roger Moore a little bit more for the costume choices in this film, the opening title sequence, or the opening title song, we had Duran Duran this time around with A View to a Kill, which was definitely a choice. How did that? So we've watched some very classic Bond movies with very classic themes and sounds and kind of a more jazz style, horns and whatnot. And now we're coming up on the 80s. We're coming into the age of Bond capitalizing on mainstream artists for their songs.
The story goes that the bass player for Duran Duran went up to Cubby Broccoli at a party and was like, "Hey, when are you going to get somebody good to do a Bond song?"
Snap!
Whether or not that's actually what happened, it's hard to say. But the guy was a big James Bond fan. This is the first one I can think of that was like a pop song, although not really, because like Wings, right? Live and Let Die.
Oh, sure. Live and Let Die is a big one.
But this was blew my mind when I learned that this was the first James Bond theme to hit number one. Like it was a number one hit in the US, number two in the UK for 2 weeks. And Duran Duran, it was the MTV generation, right? It was like MTV had been around for a couple of years. Music videos were huge. So they were trying to like get that crowd interested in James Bond. And so it was Duran Duran working with John Barry, who had been doing all of the music. And I did read where Barry didn't love the idea of like a pop rock band doing the song, but he did work with them, although it supposedly was really difficult because this was right as Duran Duran were about to break up. So they were arguing amongst themselves, and it was really just tough, I guess.
Yeah.
But I did love how John Barry, like, he co-wrote the song with Duran Duran, and then he used the melody and would rearrange it and work it into the score throughout the movie. So there's so many moments in it where you're hearing that same melody from their song playing throughout the movie in different variations. And I liked that quite a bit. I've always liked John Barry's music in these movies. But the song itself, I'm not the biggest Duran Duran fan. Like, I don't hate Duran Duran, but I'm not clamoring to listen to it. So this song was okay. It doesn't make my top 5 or anything like that in terms of Bond songs. But it was fine. It was a good song.
Yeah, Duran Duran's not my favorite thing either. So it was like, okay, neat. The thing that did stand out, though, is the stuff you're looking at while it's playing. Right? Yeah. We have gone straight neon. We're just blowing fans at people with black lights on them. We're doing it. It's the 80s.
And the two things that stood out to me the most in this were the bright, garish colors with the black light and all of that, and then the motions of everybody. Because we always get the silhouetted movement and dance and motion, but this felt like community theater pantomime type stuff. Like the one who's skiing, fake skiing in place, was absolutely ridiculous with like the scarf blowing in the wind, or the silhouettes of the skiers going down the hill, and like the one jumps and spin. Like, it was just all of that, plus the constant pew 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 of the guns firing laser beams.
Yeah,
I was like, what are we doing? What is happening?
It was a lot. It was a lot.
It really was.
Movie, and I mean, that even comes after the opening sequence, which had probably the most ridiculous part of the movie. I mean, Travis, if you were here last season, ladies and gentlemen, you recall me losing my mind over Kid Rock's music in Tokyo Drift. And this is not that different from it, because this is a ski down a mountain in the snow. It's exciting. There's stuff going on. Bond is skiing again, because it's what we like to watch him do. And then his ski breaks.
Yeah.
And then he gets like this a snowboard-esque kind of attachment.
So,
Travis, what happens during this tense, well-scored music and moment?
So, Bond is escaping. He's being shot at by Russian agents. He's in Siberia. His one ski gets blown off of his foot. So he's only on one ski. It's a great, like, the stunt work is phenomenal.
Oh, it's great.
He ends up grabbing the ski off the front of a snowmobile, the single one, and it gets used as a snowboard. Again, inventive. Snowboarding was brand new at the time. And you had like a champion snowboarder or whatever doing the stunt work. Stunt work is great. He hops on that thing, which how he connected his feet to it, whatever.
Don't worry about that.
And the second he hits the snow going down, we needle drop California Girls from the Beach Boys. Any and all tension in the scene, right out the window. Gone. Just evaporated.
Like a fart in the wind.
Oh, I don't know whose decision that was, but I'm going to blame John Glenn because he is the director and therefore it's his fault.
Definitely.
That was bad. That was just plain bad.
They could have, I mean, if they really wanted to accentuate the fact he was doing something new, they could have played the score differently. They could have added a new motif into the theme they were playing and kept it going and been like, hey, feel emotionally different about this because it's exciting and it's new. But dropping in California Girls for a solid 45 seconds.
Right. And
probably
the thing is,
not a good choice.
You don't need that. You don't need to change the music at all. The scene will play out great. And you take away from the coolness of, holy crap, what is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's the least James Bond feeling thing ever. Like, James Bond films are not needle drop movies. You don't do that in these movies. And it felt so out of place.
Yeah, it turned him into a cartoon of himself.
Yeah, it really did.
I just rolled my eyes. And to do that at the top of the movie, we haven't even seen the title sequence yet.
Right.
And set the stage for, like, you got a long way to climb up this mountain now. It's a lot. But yeah, overall, it was your typical opening Bond sequence. You know, it was fun. It was fine. But let's talk a little bit about Roger Moore himself.
Well, actually, Captain, I'm with the British Secret Service. The name is Bond. James Bond.
I'd like to point out for a second that he doesn't say his name is Bond, James Bond, till well over half this movie is complete.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we are well past the hour mark.
Yeah. It's like it's an important moment for every James Bond movie where he introduces himself, but he used a lot more code names and covers in this movie than I think I've ever seen. He's always just James Bond. In this one, he was St. John Smythe, which was nice.
St. John Smythe.
St. John Smythe.
The way they would pronounce that killed me every single time.
St. John Smythe. I actually have it. I think I have it in here somewhere. Yeah, I do, but I don't have it at a button. I had to find it. But yeah, he introduces himself several different times, but all with a different name. Here we go. Here's St. John.
St. John Smythe, my dear.
St. John Smythe. Yeah. All right.
And then he's Stock, James Stock.
James Stock from the Financial Times. Clever Bond. Nice job.
Well done, James. Well done, Jimmy.
Yeah, Roger Moore, speaking of Jimmy, Uncle Jimmy, Grandpa Jimmy, we can call him anything we want because this is his 7th time playing the character at 57 years old. And now, Travis, I love the way you put it. His 57. In that it's not 57 in 1985 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah, these are 85 years. So Ian Fleming had written that by 45, James Bond would have been taken out of the field and put at a desk. And then Roger Moore starts his run at 45 years old.
Which Roger Moore did fine those first few movies, like the first 5 years or so. But he is visibly too old for this role.
Well, he was 57 at the time, and that's the oldest any actor has ever been playing him. David Niven was 57 when he did Casino Royale, but that's an unofficial Bond movie, and that was more of a parody than anything. So Moore also is the second oldest to ever play James Bond at 55, and tied for the third oldest at 53, because Connery was 53 when he did the unofficial Never Say Never Again.
Right.
And everyone agrees he was way too old for it at that point. And interestingly, Daniel Craig was 53 when he made No Time to Die.
Okay.
But two things about that. Number one, he doesn't look as old because just the way people are aging these days. But also, No Time to Die is an aging, broken down Bond by that point. So it kind of fits a little bit. That's not the case here. This isn't an aging, this is supposed to still be prime James Bond, just doing his thing. And yeah, Moore has even gone on to say, like afterwards, he went on to say, like, look, I was too old. I shouldn't have, this is his least liked Bond film that he did. He was too old to be the part at that point, but he was still popular. He was still very popular. So
he was still Bond to a lot of people. I think watching it through our eyes in the future, looking back is a little harder because we've come to expect. I mean, you even mentioned it before on the show. Like, it's not Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
like I think you might have said that. It's Tom Cruise at 61 in Mission Impossible. It's still old, but not Roger Moore old in 1985. There's a way he carries himself, a way he dresses himself. You mentioned the tracksuit. There's a scene in the film at the end where they're in the mines and stuff. It looks like he's walking out of the mines in his slacks and members only jacket. Like he looks like someone's dad the whole time.
Also, there's a big difference when you have somebody who's usually, like, all of the stunt work in this was done by body doubles. Roger Moore doesn't do any of those. Tom Cruise at 61 still doing his own stunts, the shape that he is in, and he has a much more youthful appearance in general. But it's not like, I don't think Moore is bad in this. He's past his freshness date, and he kind of knows it. And so anytime there's any physicality going on, it's not really him. You can very easily tell when it is and when it isn't. And the age difference between him and his leading ladies is also growing. He was 57, and I think Tanya Roberts was 29.
It was too far of a stretch.
He was older than her mother when they were filming this.
Could you imagine being a 29-year-old girl be like, I gotta pretend I'm really into this 57-year-old dude, and I am not. And I mean, you said the suaveness was there and everything, which is great. He had, when he just needed to be on the screen talking about things, was when he did his best work.
Oh, sure.
He had to be Mr. Action. It didn't work for me. And it's interesting because, like, it's because it's James Bond. Because we can watch Rockford Files and enjoy the bejesus out of James Garner. Because he's not doing anything that's not something someone of his age and his character would do. But when you look at a Bond movie like this, you're watching someone who's supposed to be really good with the ladies, action-oriented, can kick. And I don't know what stunt coordinator they had on this show. This movie, but some of the stunts and the kicks and the punches and the sweep, it's like there wasn't even a fight choreographer. They were just like, okay, you guys just get in a room and rumble like you would, but don't hurt each other. And some of the kicks that happened in this movie, specifically kicking was not their strong suit. It was abysmal.
I think some of that is because, like, we were spoiled with Connery's physicality for years, and the fact that, like, he learned judo, and then Lazenby and the judo and martial arts that he was using, and they played to their strengths, right? They can't kick, so they're not going to kick. Right. It's like Steven Seagal never kicks in any of his movies because he can't do it. It's just not his thing. And it's not Roger Moore's fault for taking the role. It's just at this point he's too old to be this spry. He's not that guy anymore. And so when it's a stunt double, you can really tell. And on top of that, again, it doesn't look that good. You're right in that the choreography of the Bond films that we have watched so far, this is the worst fight choreography that I've seen.
Yeah.
By a pretty not all wide of it was margin.
Great. A lot of the fight choreography has been bad, but I think Connery's, like, close quarters fighting was more fun to watch. A lot of that's in the responsibility of the director and the cinematographer to get the right angles to make the actors look good.
Oh,
and
for
they
sure.
shot this stuff in these wide angles where you could see everything. So instead of like a close-up shot of him punching, it's a distant shot of his entire body barely putting anything into it. The kick, where he just basically missed the guy, but the guy tried to sell it anyway, is shot from a wide. You can see everything. You see his whole. I'm surprised we didn't get the boom operator in half the shots as far back as they were. And so that's just vision, I think, that wasn't there. That was storyboards that weren't planned. That was just aim the camera at the open space and see. It wasn't. It's not. It didn't seem to be the goal of the movie to show great action, great hand-to-hand fighting.
Which is also crazy to think about because John Glenn had been directing several James Bond movies by this point. This wasn't like the first time he had done it, or he'd never done a film like this. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
It was interesting. It was a different take for me, going from George Lazenby, who was the youngest Bond at 29, to also going to Roger Moore, who's the oldest Bond at 57. It just made so many different things. And I hate to harp on his age, but it did make so many other aspects of the movie less believable, because he carried himself like a 57-year-old. And I wouldn't expect him to carry himself any differently. But like you said, with Daniel Craig at 53, that story was written to address his age. It's like the latest Indiana Jones movie. Like, that exists to address Indy's age and not have him doing things more than he's actually capable of.
And when your actor even says, like, I probably shouldn't have kept doing it. Like, I should have retired by that point. And there was rumor that he might, and that they would, I think they were looking at Dalton at the time again. But he wanted to do one more, and they got him to do one more. Yeah. There's just maybe
never do one more. No. Never do one more. Always stop.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about our villain.
I take it you ride.
I'm happiest in the saddle.
A fellow sportsman.
I love this man. Max Zorin is our villain, played by Christopher Walken. If you couldn't tell from the clip, right? That was him. That was the guy that's more cowbell right there.
Yep. I
messaged Ashley, who loves James Bond movies, and I told her that that's my sister-in-law, that I was recording this with you and talking about A View to Kill. And she said, "You mean A View to a Scene-Stealing Bad Guy?" I was like, yes, actually, as a matter of fact, yes, a scene-stealing bad guy. He was so fun to watch. I wanted more of what he was, because I just liked him on screen. I liked hearing him talk. I liked seeing what he was doing. I liked the flair he had. But if they would have let him go just a little bit more, it would have been good.
I needed about 10 to 15% more Walken.
Yes.
Because what they went for was a good idea. First of all, he's the first Academy Award winner in a Bond movie.
Wow.
Because he had won for The Deer Hunter a few years earlier.
Yeah.
Some other names, by the way, before I go too much more into Walken himself, some other names that were up for the role, according to the trivia. Rutger Hauer.
Okay.
Could have been interesting.
Yeah, that could have been good.
Lee Van Cleef. I'm curious about that. He's a little bit older at this point, but he would have been coming off. He's not that long after his part in Escape from New York, so he would have made a good Bond villain. Sting and David Bowie. And in fact, they apparently offered it to David Bowie, and he said no, and went and did Labyrinth, which
good choice.
Probably was the better choice for him.
For him, yeah.
Walken was good. I wanted more. He's supposed to be psychotic, like insanely psychotic, and I didn't quite get enough of that. They tried it, but it felt lazy to have him right at the end just like killing all of his own henchmen, just mowing them down with a machine gun. That was the way to like show that, oh, he's crazy. He'll sacrifice his own people. But that felt a little lazy. That's not Walken's fault. That's the writing letting him down.
Yeah.
But we needed to like give it just a little bit more, because the seeds are there. The idea is there. His character is a little nuts, and I kind of liked it. I also think it's funny that he's introduced as speaking 5 languages, none with an accent, and it's Christopher Walken, who is just a
more power,
living embodiment of an accent.
He can't not do it. I don't know. I kind of buy the psychotic thing, the way they did it, a little bit differently, like a little bit better. Because the plot involves this doctor who had, given these women some drug that their babies came out with massively high IQs.
Yeah.
But they were also all psychopaths. And you don't really learn that till well into the movie when we meet David Yip as Agent Lee talks about it. I think he's the one that reveals that to Bond. And so what we do see of Max Zorin before, we don't really get the psycho thing, but we also don't know that he should be. And he's not really given a lot of opportunities to be a total psycho, other than he's like watching everybody and has every room in his palace bugged.
Yeah.
But then when they do give him a real opportunity to kind of show it, that's when he starts just mowing everybody down and everything. It is kind of like there should have been seeds, like you were talking about, planted along the way, so you could kind of pick up that was part of his personality a little bit.
Yeah. Like I just want him to be a little bit more menacing and sinister in a couple of the earlier scenes, so that when we get to him on his blimp with all of his cohorts and he's laying out his plan to them, he can be just, because like those scenes are great. Like I love that.
Great.
All of that stuff was amazing.
I loved it.
You know, they did shoehorn in the title of the movie at one point.
Yeah, I got that right here.
What a view to a kill.
Which makes no sense in context at all. Nope. Like it just, okay. But you're right in that he does steal all his scenes. So he's not bad at all. I just wanted more of it. So it becomes, he's great in this movie, but I largely forget that Walken played a Bond villain until I'm like, oh, that's right. He did one in the mid 80s.
Right. And I mean, it was fun. I love the stuff in the blimp because it reminded me of Austin Powers and Dr. Evil. The big table and the goons talking about it. And the way he says, "Oh, sure, you won't be part of it. You can leave. You know, you can go down the stairs over here." And Grace Jones, Mayday, turns on the switches and just dumps the guy out of the blimp into the ocean. Like, yeah, that's cool.
That's a great reveal, right? Because up until that point, we have no idea. And then all of a sudden that trapdoor opens and he slides out and you just see the dummy falling out of the blimp. And I'm like, this is good. This is Bond villain stuff right here. Yes. This is good.
That was really good. I love that Bond at this point, we're just used to seeing dummies flying off cliffs and off bridges and off,
right?
Like they just throwing people off of things and filming them for a really long time just till they hit the bottom. It's equivalent to like when you're 10 and you're throwing GI Joes off the porch or the second balcony. Like, look at him go! You can't help but watch him hit. Can't pan out. It's fine. Just an all around super fun villain. Could have done more, but super fun. But let's talk about the Bond girls.
Oh, my dear, I take it you spend quite a lot of time in the saddle.
Yes, I love an early morning ride.
Oh, I'm an early riser myself.
Flirting.
Yes, flirting with Alison Doody in that scene.
Yeah.
Very young Alison Doody.
18 years old.
Wow.
Alison Doody.
Yeah. Only a few years away from her run in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is Elsa Schneider. That's where I recognize her from. I saw her name pop up and I was like, oh, she did do more than one movie. Because according to the IMDb trivia, poor Alison Doody has refused some of the largest films in pop culture. For whatever reason. I don't know. She's had a part in Lord of the Rings and said no. I think The Matrix said almost like Sean Connery did, like a whole string of just out of off the wall amazing box office movies, and she's like, nah, we're good. I did Last Crusade. I'm good. I'm fine. She played, of course, Jenny Flex. Didn't have much to say. That was like her first role, I guess. But we did have a couple that were consistent throughout this film, which a lot of times it seems like these Bond girls come in like halfway through or almost to the end. Grace Jones was there right from the beginning as Mayday. She is the femme fatale of this movie, the one that's working against him for the most part, but has the memory of a goldfish.
Oh yeah,
she has face blindness or something.
All white men in tuxedos look the same to her.
They all look alike.
What happens? Yep. So she had done Conan the Destroyer before this, and that was kind of the movie that got her cast. And she had such a unique look with the hair. She's very just angular and imposing, and it works. But she's a little bit wooden, which is fine.
Oh yeah.
You know, there was a weird accent she had for one scene, and then it was just gone. But she's supposed to be American, so I don't know what was going on there. But the biggest thing for me throughout this whole movie is there's all of the scenes she has with Roger Moore, and I get that the character is supposed to not like her, but there's no chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah.
And even at the end when she does her face turn, and because she's been abandoned by Max, by Zoran, and does like the heroic self-sacrifice, it still just never felt like, and apparently, according to Roger Moore, they did not get along on set at all. And she has said in her memoir that, well, that was her just staying in character all of the time, and that she actually really liked working with Roger Moore, whereas Roger Moore in interviews would be asked about it, he's like, I've been told if you're not going to say something nice, don't say anything at all, type of thing.
Wow.
So,
well, that's not uncommon with someone who goes method. Like if she did what she said, like, I mean, it's difficult when you're an actor and you can turn it on and off and you're great. And you're working with actors who are just, especially if they're playing a villain and having to be a butthole on camera. I'm not an actor. I don't know how it works, but from everything I've heard from listening to countless interviews with actors, most of them don't understand method, and can't, like, on set maybe, yeah, sure, but like once you're out in the world and you want to have a beer after the day's over, it's like, let it go.
But I will say that as both a Bond girl and a henchwoman, Grace Jones, I think she stands out in this movie. Much like Walken was good, Grace Jones is one of the memorable things about this movie, because
I agree with that.
There's a physicality to her in the way that she carries herself, and you buy that she is the physical equal of James Bond, and she could probably, fold him up like a pretzel.
Oh, yeah, because she's shown to have like an exceptional strength.
Yeah.
For some reason. I guess it's because of the horse medicine.
Yeah.
She's probably been on. But yeah, she was good. I think that overall, she made for a really good villain, a really good partner to Zoran.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't buy the face turn so much. It was multiple times where she's like forgotten who Bond is, and then she sleeps with Bond at one point, not knowing, like, because he's St. John Smith or Smythe.
Well, they know by this point that he's Bond. They're pretty certain
into it,
and they're playing it. And that's fine. And I didn't mind that. And like the animosity feel there makes sense, because she's trying to play a part, but also just not very good at it, which is kind of fits the character.
Yeah, it works.
But yeah, her face turn in terms of like, yes, she was abandoned by Zoran, but now
I thought he loved me.
Yeah. And so then she's going to do the heroic self-sacrifice.
Like out of nowhere. We're talking, she's one minute she's willing to die for this man. The next minute she's dying to stop him.
That happened too quickly, but
way too fast.
Still very, very memorable as a character. And when I think of Bond girls, one of the ones that always pops into my head is Mayday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Tanya Roberts as Stacey Sutton, however, just very basic Bond girl and largely forgettable for me.
Well, it's because she didn't have anything to do really other than explain seismology with her tiny apple.
And yelled James.
Okay, so we got to talk about her yelling a lot, because the first time he really sits down to talk with her is in the kitchen at the plantation house, where she sold all her stuff because she's trying to sue Zoran and needs all the money. They're sitting in the kitchen. Every ounce of that dialogue was ADR. It had to be.
Oh yes.
I don't know. I can't. You can kind of pick it out. Those were not her words coming out of her mouth. I mean, they were, but I had a theory, because later on when they're trying to escape the elevator, she is yelling at the top of her lungs, and it is raspy. She's pretending to cough. She's rasping all over the place. And even later when they're at the mines, her voice is not nearly as smooth as it is in that kitchen scene. So I'm pretty convinced that kitchen scene was filmed later in production.
Yeah.
And she was still wrecked from having to yell in the fiery elevator.
Entirely possible. Yeah.
It's not her voice, or if it is, it's very different than you expect, because her voice is not, I wouldn't say gruff, but it has more there's more character in it than what is in that scene because it just looks recorded. And he doesn't sound that way. I watched him talk, and those words are caught on set.
Yeah.
Her words are ADR'd, every single one. Shocked me.
they just give Stacy nothing. She's just there, and it's a bummer. Now, Tanya Roberts had done something like 16 episodes of Charlie's Angels, and she was in She was in The Beastmaster in 82, I think, or something like that. And that's kind of what got her cast in this. But she didn't do a whole lot after this. Nothing wide release. It was a lot of TV and a lot of like direct to video kind of schlock.
Sure.
But I think the big thing for me was she's largely forgettable. And then on top of that, when she does have to explain stuff, the dialogue that she gets, it feels like she doesn't understand. Like she wasn't given enough time to learn the dialogue beyond just learning the words.
Right. I don't understand. We have this one bit of dialogue from her as an example.
Is the key geological lock that keeps the faults from moving at once.
Like it feels like, like she learned the words, but she doesn't understand what they mean. It's kind of, and this happens, like you've seen enough episodes of Star Trek. There's so much technobabble in that, but you can tell like LeVar Burton owns that technobabble when he's playing.
He believes what he's saying is real.
He may not actually get anything that's being said, but he believes it, and he's portraying that, and he owns it. And this just felt like she didn't really get what the character was supposed to be explaining, and so it just comes out meh.
And that can work. Like it does sound like someone told her something, and then she went and repeated it to him. But when she's the expert, she's supposed to be the one coming up with those words for herself. It reminds me a lot of the story of the Goonies when what's his name, Sean Astin's character, help me out. Anyway, he's retelling the story of One-Eyed Willie in the attic. Well, that story, he told that story because Richard Donner dragged him out and said, "I'm going to tell you the story of One-Eyed Willie, and when I get done telling it to you, I need you to go back in and tell those kids the story." So it had this really natural kid telling a story his dad told him kind of vibe. Yes. And it works because he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just trying to share. But with somebody who's an expert, like you said, with LeVar Burton playing Geordie LaForge doing all the technobabble, it's important that you at least have convinced your brain that those are real words that you know, that you understand, and that you're going to deliver. Yeah. And she just didn't. She didn't do that. She didn't. Like,
and whether it was
do a lot.
Yeah, whether it was just she wasn't given enough time, or she was, not putting her full self into it, I don't know. But
right,
or
maybe she knew what kind of movie she was making.
That could be too. But it's just a bummer because like you want your main lead to be memorable, and I'd completely forgotten anything about Stacey Sutton at all, including her name. Like the name doesn't even really do a whole lot.
No,
it's not like Jenny Flex or Mayday or anything like that.
Pola Ivanova.
Right.
So Fiona Fullerton is Pola Ivanova. There's a whole scene where they've got the tape from the oil rig guys that have been recording all this communication between the bad guy and his henchman. And she gets away with it, and Bond ends up with her. And they know each other. Turns out they're friends. Yeah. And they have a whole apartment hot tub thing. And admittedly, Sam was downstairs when I was watching this movie, and I didn't know what would happen, so I skipped through most of it. So I'll let you let me know what happened.
Well, if you've seen Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, this is the exact same scene. That hot tub scene in that movie is a parody of this scene in this movie.
Oh, wow.
But there's this weird subplot in the movie with the KGB because Max Zorin is a KGB agent who's gone rogue now. And there's a whole deal where General Gogol shows up and is like, "Hey, what are you doing? You've gone rogue. We don't like that, blah, blah, blah." And so they're now spying on Zorin. So they send their own people while James is going to do his thing. And that's where they run into each other. So yeah, Bond and Ivanova have a history of some kind, and like she even makes the comment, when did you know that I was sent here to seduce you, type thing. And they do their thing in the hot tub, which but and it leads to a really goofy scene when she leaves with the tape that she thinks she's gotten from him. She's made off with the tape, and then gets in the car with the general, and they put the tape in, and it's whatever French music or something like that. And like,
yes.
I saw somebody with a video clip where they're like, if you just put the Seinfeld music over this, it matches the faces perfectly that they're making, like they're surprised faces.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that would be perfect.
So,
yeah,
honestly, Paula Ivanova doesn't need to be in this movie. Completely superfluous. You could have taken her out of it entirely, and it doesn't make a lick of difference. In fact, while the age difference would be much starker, the character of Jenny would have served better to be in this part in some way.
That actually is very true, because she could have played that off the same way. Like I've infiltrated his palace and I was a plant the whole time.
Yeah,
or whatever. Now I'm trying to steal the tape. Yeah,
instead of bringing in yet another character that largely doesn't matter.
Yeah, did not matter at all. Didn't have to be there, because they do want you to believe in this KGB through line. Mm-hmm. But they only talk about it every now and then in very subtle ways. So it just doesn't click at all that it's even part of the plot. And this is that James Bond thing I've talked about multiple times, where it's just, there's so much plot going on, but none of it's talked about. So you have to remember it all. It can get really confusing. This wasn't a confusing movie. This was fine. It was very straightforward to me. But overall, man, I think all the Bond girls did what Bond girls do. Up to this point, at least, what we've come to expect. I know watching these with my son has been great and eye-opening, because he's just like, why is she just not doing this or not doing this? And I said, Sam, because men don't know how to write women, especially in the 80s.
No, it's true.
Before, like, I have no idea what they're doing. So
not a clue.
It's kind of cool to watch Gen Alpha watch this and go, this is not how girls are. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you see that.
It's comforting to know that there has been some progress in the human race.
Yeah, that we have made some kind of movement that even the children recognize. Like, yes, okay, good. But yeah, overall, they were all fine, with Mayday being the standout for sure of all of them. So let's get to some henchmen.
If you're in need of any further assistance, please call me.
Thank you.
that was a good delivery. That's very. I feel like he had his pinky up. When he gave that delivery.
I love Patrick Bouchot. And this character is pretty one note and pretty basic, but I love him as Scarpine, and I just like him in general. He has that very pinky up, very presence. I am a big fan of the mid-90s series, The Pretender, and he is in that.
Oh, yeah. He
plays a main character in that. And he was actually up for the role of Captain Jean-Luc Picard at one point.
No way. Okay.
And I really like him. And he is your classic Bond henchman. He is the right-hand man. He is fiercely loyal. He's got a distinguishing mark, just got the scar on his face. Mm-hmm. And he's there. He does whatever is needed in the scenes. But I also like that he is constantly just like calm as a Hindu cow.
Oh yeah.
And to me that was great. It's because I love when the henchmen have something to set them apart. And in this case, it's just the overwhelming calmness that he had throughout everything.
Oh, setting a bomb in a mine cart with a bunch of other bombs and just being chill about it. That's pretty great, Yeah. But and being chill about mowing down a bunch of henchmen. He's like, let me get you your weapons. Let me do the job.
Like, right. His heart rate never got above 63 this entire movie. Like Scarpine is just flatlined the whole time.
Yes, absolutely. He was great. Mayday also fits in this one, you said. Mr. Conley, the oil man, is kind of a henchman in a way, because he's helping set up this whole plan to flood the San Andreas Fault, fill it with water, which will cause earthquakes that will cause Silicon Valley to go underwater.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for.
This is a very elaborate plan to make it look like a natural disaster.
I just added Mr. Conley because he pops up at the horse stuff early on, but he's overplaying the oil guy personality.
Yeah.
And then he's on the blimp as one of the people, but then he's at the mine and he knows about the big plan, and he's the one that's even but our men are down there in Mayday.
Yeah. Yeah, so, by the way, that whole mine scene where they're running through that and chasing each other and all that stuff, I looked right at Sam and said they're going to flood that mine. Just it's going to fill water. People are going to be running everywhere. He's like, how do you know? I was like, because I've seen a movie. So you just knew.
By the way, a lot of that was shot at Pinewood Studios at the James Bond soundstage. But the soundstage earlier in the year when they were burned to the ground during the filming of Legend, and they had to rebuild it. So they rebuilt the soundstage and named it the Albert R. Broccoli 007 soundstage. But they managed to get it rebuilt in 4 months. And then, so they had, some of it was shot there and some of it was shot at other stages at Pinewood Studios to fill it in. Somehow they still managed to come in under budget on this movie.
Holy cow.
So
well done. Yeah. Despite hiring extra people and running extra long, he still came in under budget. There and the final big henchman, and I breezed past the guy because there's not much to do with him.
Yeah, there's nothing much there.
Yeah, the doctor who's been injecting the horses and everybody else. That guy was just a caricature. The monocle was too much. The monocle was what did it.
Yes, because he's already a Nazi doctor who was experimenting, and then he got picked up by the Russians, and he's continued experimenting, and he created Zorin and did all this kind of stuff. He's Dr. Mengele is what he is.
Yes.
Complete with a just set in the eye and held it there the whole time monocle. That was the cherry on top of wow, it's a straight up caricature.
Yeah. And he didn't have a lot to do. And then the bumbling at the end with the dynamite, and he's shooting because Max has died. He fell off the Golden Gate Bridge, and then he's shooting at Bond because this movie will not end. And then the dynamite that he's fumbling with, it was a lot. It was a lot, and they couldn't get the dynamite out the door. It's just there, just in their hands. Come on, y'all. It's not that hard. But overall, I mean, nothing memorable about any of these henchmen. Really, they were fine.
No, and I will say, if it was not Patrick Bouchot playing Scarpine, he would be completely forgettable.
Yeah, they didn't have just the fact that nothing to do.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. None of these people had anything to do. We're just collecting characters at this point because we have to. But there's nothing of interest here, and which is a shame. Because Roger Moore is also the Bond that was there when Jaws came along, and there was a cool villain with something really great to do. But we get to this one and it's like everybody, you want to act like they're phoning it in with The Living Daylights. Is that the one we watched? Which one did we watch with Sean Connery? Diamonds Are Forever.
Diamonds Are Forever.
Do you want to talk about Diamonds Are Forever? Connery was phoning it in. It felt like everyone not in front of the camera was phoning it in.
Kind of, yeah.
Just to get an action movie, an attitude Bond movie. It's been a year. Let's go. That's where I'm at with a lot of these extra characters and a lot of these extra scenes. Just
Yep. Agreed.
I mean, we repeated skiing. We've seen it. Anyway, Allies.
Chuck Lee, CIA. It's a pleasure working with 007.
Thanks. Now, what about Zard?
Soft shell crabs. Love that guy.
So, David Yip playing CIA agent Chuck Lee, was supposed to be initially Felix Leiter. That was early versions of the script were going to have it be Felix again, but they decided that because they were going to be setting it in San Francisco, that they should, and Chinatown being such a prominent part of San Francisco, they should have a Chinese CIA agent, Chinese American. So they went with David Yip, and he was coming off of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He was in that.
Yeah, wasn't he one of the servers in the Club Obi-Wan?
Yep, in the first part of it there. And he was great. I liked him quite a bit, actually. I'm bummed that they killed him off.
Absolutely. He was awesome.
Because he was a lot of fun.
But it was fun to watch.
Well, it's great because he has like a real fun introduction. He gives James info. He helps, like, then he shows up and he's going to help him out. And I get why they killed him off. Like, they somehow have to take away whatever potential help James might have. But I wish they hadn't, because I really liked him.
They didn't have to. They killed him off screen, so he's not really dead.
True.
You know?
Well, that was so they kept doing that, right? This movie kept killing allies like off screen because Patrick McNee as Sir Godfrey Tibbett, who also I liked quite a bit. Tibbett was memorable as the valet, and he's going undercover with James. Their
rapport was really fun. Like Tibbett dealing with Bond was as fun. It's like how Q deals with Bond. Mm-hmm. Tibbett was dealing with him in the field, just like, okay, you're just going to mistreat me this whole time, aren't you?
Yep. And a big part of that is because Roger Moore and Patrick McNee were friends. They had worked on movies together. They had done Sherlock Holmes in New York in like 76, and they'd done another film together. So they were friends. And Tibbett is a great foil to Bond. And he is perfect. Because we don't get much Q in this, so we don't get that banter, but we get the banter with those two. But again, I was bummed that they killed him off like halfway through the movie. You could have
I loved him, don't get me wrong, but he's another old guy in your collection of old guys, and it made it definitely like, okay, Grandpa MI6 is going to infiltrate the palace. Let's make sure we do this right. That was tough.
Although I do think if you had a younger Bond and an older Tippett, it could work.
That could have worked. You could have added some of that age related friction. And it would have been fun to watch. One with like you're old, but I respect you kind of attitude,
Yeah, exactly.
With some soft ribbing. Sounds really good to me. And then we also had Aubergine. I don't remember Aubergine like at all.
I just had to mention him because he was basically Discount Poirot. He was the investigator that Tippett had hired to find out about the horses from the race.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And he dies. He's the one that dies in the Eiffel Tower by getting just a fish hook in the face. And that kills him.
We did get this from him, too.
And I, Achille Aubergine, intend to find it.
Does it sound like Power Rangers whoosh, whoosh, judo?
Because that was Mayday whipping the fishing rod.
That was
around.
right. That was the really obnoxious whipping sound with the fishing rod. We didn't even talk about Mayday's fishing rod, and just the most bumbly weapon I think I've ever seen. James Bond has never looked less cool than getting tangled up in a fishing rod and nearly thrown off the Eiffel Tower in a physics-defying mess.
Absolutely insane.
I don't know who decided that this was the right way to go, but it was. I mean, we invented guns. What are we swinging fishing line around for?
Yeah. Aubergine I just had to mention because his name is Achille Aubergine, right? Aubergine. Achilles eggplant. And it was from the desk of I did not need to be told that in the trivia. Jean Rougerie was dubbed. No.
Okay. Yeah, no, really? Okay. Man, we've had a really good time dubbing and ADRing people in this series so far.
I tell you what.
Kind of incredible.
But he was ridiculous. It's also like, hey, Bond isn't creepy and cringy enough. Let's have somebody who's even worse, like even more dirty old man, right? Because he's just there to like ogle the girl that comes out to whistle at butterflies for whatever reason. Like that was the strangest thing. So yeah, he's there.
That's actually an interesting thing you bring up, the dirty old man. Why is James not as dirty old man as Aubergine, even though he is a dirty old man?
Because why
do we not look at him that way? Unless you think about it really hard.
Because he is suave and he's good looking.
Right.
And he gets the ladies. They love him. Right.
Okay. So he's not squat and bad posture and smoking
he's not
a cigar,
balding.
staring.
Yeah, he's not balding with a terrible mustache and a horrendously bad French accent.
Okay. Dirty Old Man is about how you carry yourself and the way you if you do not stare at ladies.
Typically,
like a weirdo. Yes. Okay, right. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, noted. For when I become a squat old man, I need to know what I'm allowed to do. Not
precisely.
Be a creeper.
We did have, this was our the last ever time that Lois Maxwell played Moneypenny.
And that's a shame, but film. Also she's too old for her. Like, everyone is old. This movie is just 00 old. Is where we're at.
This is the 14th James Bond film to be produced. And
sure,
Lois Maxwell had been Moneypenny in all of them.
And that's amazing.
She went all the way back to Dr. No. So,
yeah.
It's a bummer that she was done. I do appreciate the fact that she did learn that she was not going to be playing the role anymore from Cubby Broccoli before it was in the press and all of that. So that's fine. This was the first time also we saw Robert Brown as M. This is our first time with a different M because Bernard Lee had died by this point.
Right.
And he's fine. I can't really make a distinction because he doesn't have anything to do. Like, he has less screen time as M than Bernard Lee ever had, and Bernard Lee's was always just a few minutes. So
yeah, we didn't spend much time at all at MI6. It's almost like it was a check the box kind of thing that you're supposed to do.
Very much so.
Yeah, we have to have Bond talk to M. We have to have Moneypenny say something. That is a rule, and that's what we did. And we also, I didn't know this till the end credits because I knew from interviews with Dolph Lundgren and knowing a lot about him because I'm weird and I look up people, that he was with Grace Jones through the 80s. And when I saw Grace Jones in here, I primarily know Grace Jones because of Dolph Lundgren. And I thought, I wonder if he was in the picture yet. And sure enough, he was. He was dating Darth. He's dating Grace Jones, Darth Jones, while they were shooting this movie. And the director needed someone to play a henchman, like he needed a big guy. And Dolph Lundgren, it's not his last time playing a Russian, as we all know, but he played a Russian henchman.
In fact, according to something I heard, while he was shooting this, he had a photographer be taking pictures of him in like boxing poses to try, because Rocky IV came out the same year.
Oh, so okay.
They were filming, and he was like trying to get his auditions and stuff to do Ivan Drago. So yeah, this is the first screen credit for Dolph Lundgren as Venz, I think was his name, but he's he's a KGB agent.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known he was there if it's on the credits. I saw Dolph Lundgren. I was like, oh, I need to go back and see where he was because I kind of missed him. But let's get to Q Branch. I have a feeling this is going to be a quick one.
Now, pay attention, 007.
And it's a quick one because Q doesn't have a lot to do. Most of the characters in this movie, Q is there briefly because it's required. And in this one, he's got a robot dog scooting around. It is played by Desmond Llewellyn, though, who we love. And he will never be too old to be Q because Q is an old guy doing gadgetry, and that's fine. But yeah, robot dog. That's one of the gadgets we got. I don't really remember a car outside that Corvette that was in it for 5 seconds.
The only car, the Corvette popped up, and then the Rolls Royce as well, which that Rolls Royce, by the way, was Cubby Broccoli's. He loaned it to the production and let him use that. So I thought that was kind of cool. But no, it's weird that a mid-'80s action Bond movie that has a plot centered around Silicon Valley has almost no Q branch and very few gadgets. Yeah. And this is the Roger Moore gadget era. This is the era of gadgets, but there's hardly any in this. And it was kind of a bummer. I did like Chekhov's Robo-Dog because you knew that was coming back.
Yeah. And the sharper image window opener.
That was
okay. The sharper image is a magazine for when you want to buy, a dart board with shot glasses in it.
Yep.
Weird, fun, the foot massager boot. It's basically Get Smart in a magazine.
And stores. You can go to Sharper Image stores.
Yes.
It was, but that was it was a Sharper Image credit card that somehow magnetically opened windows, I guess.
Yes. And it had Sharper Image written on it so big and bold. And I wouldn't have believed it was that Sharper Image if it wasn't for the font being exactly the same. And
yes.
I knew,
it's a very recognizable font.
Yeah. No wonder they came in under budget. I wonder how much that screen time cost, the Sharper Image.
Yeah. Outside of that, there's no gadgets. They have like a bug sweeper that's in the shape of an electric razor.
The earthquake computer, the earthquake center, where she tapped 4 buttons on the Mac or the Apple. Well, I don't even think it was a Mac at the time. The Apple, and it went straight to the earthquake seismograph.
Yes.
That was pretty amazing. That was dumb. It was so dumb. It was just a waveform on the screen and a little map of California. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
It was a disappointing level of gadgetry. There was the bed at the beginning and the weird submarine that came out on the floor.
The submarine, by the way, which, again, secret mission, right? Behind enemy lines. And he's got a submarine that the door opens up and it's got a Union Jack on the inside of it. And then it looks like a rock that is unnaturally moving quickly through the water. That cracked me up so much.
With a bed in it. A circle bed. It is. You're right. This Austin Powers watched this movie and then just did everything. Because the jacuzzi thing and the round bed, I'm shocked it didn't spin. Because it was, we got right into it and said, hey, it's a James Bond movie. There's a hot blonde driving his submarine. Because that makes a lot of sense. We're just going to leave that alone. But yeah, definitely not a whole lot to talk about. But we are coming up on the end, so we can kind of give our thoughts on what we think with this one.
You slept well? A little restless, but I got off eventually.
As did we with this James Bond movie. And I mean, we just got off the ride. I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah. Is this the worst? Is this 36%, Travis?
I can understand why this one did not rate well. Between an aging Roger Moore, who is just too old for the part. Another piece of trivia that I did not need to be told was that all of the action scenes with James Bond were filmed using stunt doubles. Yes. And, and very obviously so. By the way, there is a stunt in this movie that blew my mind watching it this time. Like, I had completely forgotten about it. And that is the Renault, when he's driving that in Paris and he goes through, he gets the roof of it ripped off by the stanchion.
Yes.
That was a crazy stunt because he hit that thing like he was moving, and that hits hard, and then a guy sits up in the car. There was somebody in there.
There's somebody driving it. Yeah.
That was nuts. But it's just, this movie to me is too long.
Yeah.
And overstuffed and has plot threads that just get forgotten. Like, we spend the first hour of the movie with a plot about horse racing and doping horses to race better, but that's just sort of, nope, never mind. Forget about anything having to do with like genetic enhancements in horses and steroids and any of that. Nope, now we're off talking about something else completely. And
yeah, because it didn't even really, I mean, aside from Grace Jones' superpowers, which really is fine, but not really evident throughout the rest of the movie, and Max being a psycho, which really he's not. It didn't need a chemical reason to be a psycho. No. We didn't need any of that setup at all to get to where we got to.
You also have, like, again, another plot thread that could have been really interesting and timely, and they just sort of forget about it, are the EMP-proof microchips. The whole thing at the beginning of it is, this is a specially designed microchip that isn't affected by electromagnetic pulses.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind about any of that. We're not going to mention it again. Like, it just doesn't matter. That should have been something that was like, because the whole thing is, and why develop those if your whole plot is just to flood Silicon Valley so that you can corner the market? It's just, that's the problem. There's also like, there's just too many action sequences in this, because we go from at one point, James shows up at that house, and then there's a fight because he timed it perfectly so that the assassins coming to kill Stacy just happened to get there at the same time.
Yep.
Defeats them. They talk for a minute, and then they go to City Hall, and then they're caught at City Hall when there's no one else there, and it gets lit on fire, and so they have to escape that. And then as soon as they get out of there, we have a pointless car chase through San Francisco because James couldn't take the time to go like prove that he is who he is. He had to turn the fire hose on somebody. Yeah.
Just go with the cops. QM, somebody will be there.
Because earlier he dealt with all the stuff in Paris and jumping off of the Eiffel Tower and crashing somebody's wedding, literally. And like all of this kind of stuff. And they're just like, yeah, well, we had to pay 6 million francs and everything's fine now. But in San Francisco, he can't do that. And instead, he's got to like have a car chase in a fire truck. He has to
steal a fire truck, and then he gets across, I guess, the one bridge that exists in San Francisco, and it's scot-free in a fire truck, all the way to the mine where the mines are. Like, no, they're sitting in a helicopter. I've played Grand Theft Auto enough times. They're going to stop your fire truck.
It's the thing where, like, we talked about this last season with Fast and Furious, and how I think it was Fast 5. We were like, okay, 5 minutes into this movie, they told us what they're doing and we're on board. This movie did the same thing. 5 minutes in, it told us what it was doing, and that was the needle drop with the Beach Boys. And at that point, we should have just cut bait and said, you know what?
It's bad. I'm out.
And it never got better from there. And it's unfortunate that Roger Moore went out like this in his tenure as Bond, because he was good in the role. And he has some very memorable movies, and this just went out like a wet fart.
It's fortunate that he knew that making this movie was his mistake after doing it. So it's not a surprise when the critics come back and hate it, because he knew it wasn't their best attempt. My biggest issue with this movie in particular is that Bond is not cool in this movie. He's not cool. He loses every aspect that makes you want to be Bond. I mean, it's one thing to have Bond like snuck up on and hit and in jail and be still chill and get out of it. It's another thing for Bond to try carrying a lady down the stairs in his dumb jacket, or down a fire ladder in his jacket and slipping. You know, Bond doesn't slip. I don't know why that bothered me so much. I'm like, why did Bond slip? It's not, he's meant to do it right. We're the ones that slip. We watch Bond because he does it right. And even when he's doing the wrong thing, he's doing it cooler than me. And there were so many little moments where he was just a weirdo, or he was failing. I didn't like the treatment of the character in this movie, and I didn't like that. I felt like I was watching, my uncle in his slacks and penny loafers trying to be an action hero. And that's what it felt like to me. I couldn't help it. I couldn't get him out of my head that I'm watching people that are significantly older than me that I know can't do any of this doing it, and I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't park my brain enough to feel like that was happening, and it's not his fault. Like, I really don't think in large part it was Roger Moore's fault. I really blame the way the movie was shot. I feel like there was a lot of ways they could have made him look better by doing things a little differently and working with that age and that limitation, but still giving him the view that he was rocking it. And they kept continuing to want to show full body shots of this guy in his loafers, his members only jacket, running around. And it was just driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's because the cinematography itself is good, and some of the shots are really well done, but the action is not.
Yeah,
the action is lacking, and it's a bummer. So, and then on top of that, like the couple of reviews we read, it's just kind of unremarkable and boring. Like, it's 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it feels much longer than that because there's no tension in any of these action sequences, and we get done with one and we just roll right into another one.
Yeah.
So
You're not walking away with anything. I did like the ending on the bridge. I thought some of that was kind of cool.
Oh, that was a cool
until
visual, and
Zoran
it was a cool
was
idea
down there.
Yeah.
When they're fighting with each other, it becomes another bumbling idiot contest of who's going to accidentally die.
Right.
Which is the part I didn't like. It felt like everything was an accident. Everyone was getting lucky. Nothing was deliberate. The wins weren't earned. They just happened.
Yeah, they didn't win so much as not lose.
Exactly. And I think that's probably at the end of the day the main issue that I had with the whole thing. But we did get through it. So
congratulations.
you watched the worst Roger Moore James Bond movie according to Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm assuming we agree thus far that earned its audience and critics score.
It really did. I get why it's there. It's in the bottom tier of Bond movies.
Definitely in the bottom. Not what I wanted. But, I mean, we're doing this for you, dear listener. But we're also doing this because we want you to tell us what you think about these movies and give us your take. Maybe this is your favorite movie. And you know what? Honestly, I would love to hear from somebody that tells me, I love A View to a Kill, and I think you guys are nuts. And I disagree with everything. Because I want to know not just that you disagree, but why.
Yes, please tell us. If you think this is a good one, if this is your favorite James Bond movie or in your top tier of James Bond movies, tell us why. We want to know.
Yeah, and you can do all of that by reaching out to us on the socials over there at 24fpspresents.bsky.social. That's on Blue Sky. You can also email us, 24fpspresents@gmail.com. We want your emails because we can read those in feedback episodes, and voicecast.app/24fps to send us a voicemail and tell us with your mouth why you think we're wrong. That would be really exciting. That has been Roger Moore and the worst movie. So we can only go up from here for him. Next time on the show, we're watching The Spy Who Loved Me. So get that into your head before you would listen to the next episode. The Spy Who Loved Me, Rotten Tomatoes critic score of 82%, the best Roger Moore film. But until then, stay safe and don't fly your weird blimp into any bridges and stuff. Maybe.
Solid advice.
What I'm saying is, hey,